You wouldn't build a house without a foundation, so don't build your business without one. This is Mindset Monday, where we lay out the tools, frameworks, and mindset you need to scale your contracting or trading business today. All right. Welcome back to Mindset Monday. I'm your host, Gerritt Bake, with, let me see if I can get the shirt in the shot, Build Pro. Here we go. I don't know. We're going to start giving away some of these shirts. I think that'd be kind of cool. People love swag, right? Well, you guys know the drill. If you're here live, go ahead and drop your name and your business name and where you're from, and we'll give you the good old shout out. Now, if you're anything like me, odds are you're feeling a little full. Why? Well, because Turkey Day, right? Now, it's interesting how this holiday has evolved, right? It started off with a, gratitude for, being here and the life that we live and everything like that. And what it's turned into is, I don't know if I want my in-laws to show up this year because every time they do, there's a fight. Or I don't want my sister showing up because we don't get along, right? And it's turned into this weird like thing. But all in all, again, hopefully you guys had a great weekend. You are able to eat some delicious turkey and stuffing or ham or barbecue or whatever the thing is. But hopefully you got to spend some time with family and or friends and relax a little bit. Maybe watch some football. Let's see. We've got Alex Christensen, Rustic Mountain Build Design out of Collinston, Utah. Welcome to the show. Olga's here. She's also out of the Salt Lake area. We got the 3 hearts this morning. Welcome as well. Now, I want to kind of get into this. But first I want to share with you like how my Thanksgiving went, right? My Thanksgiving usually goes like this, right? Either we're going somewhere or someone's coming to our house, which is truth for everybody. But normally what happens is I like to take on an additional task or tasks, things that need to be cooked or things that need to be done because for some reason I can't just enjoy myself. So not really sure why that happens, but it happens. We got a couple more folks here. We got Jeremy with Foundation ACS. Welcome to the show, Jeremy. We got Joseph with MJ Plumbing as well. And Alex, he says, it was good. My Cowboys kicked butt. Oh, yeah, they did. They beat the Eagles? Go Eagles. Just kidding. I don't really like the Eagles, but here we are. So this year I decided that I wasn't going to do everything. And it's really hard for me to do that, right? It was really hard for me to not say yes to everything. Hey, we need an extra turkey like last year because we had, additional friends and family showing up. And so I was like, yeah, I'll make 2 turkeys. Or, year before when I'm like, yeah, I'll make all the pies for the desserts, right? There always seems to be something happening, right? And what I realized is my job is not to do everything. In fact, my job is to do a couple of things, but do those things really well. And this year I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. So we had my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, her kids, our kids, right? A couple folks over at the house. It wasn't too big, too massive. But what ended up happening is my sister-in-law volunteered to do the turkey. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, go ahead. Do the turkey. Now we worked a little bit together. We decided to do an al pastor turkey. Now, if you're familiar with Mexican tacos, that's the tacos that are up on the spit, the meat that's up on the spit and it rotates and you kind of slide it off, throw in a taco and off you go. Well, we made a turkey that way and it turned out absolutely amazing. If you want the recipe, I can share that with you. It was really good, but it was crazy because Thanksgiving morning, I wasn't overwhelmed. I bought the pies from, the different stores, Costco and wherever else. We ended up, making some of the sides, but I really just got to be present and enjoy myself. And it's the first Thanksgiving in quite a few years that I was able to do that. We've got Daniel Cox. Welcome to the show. He says, I'm sub 2. All right. Welcome, my friend. So we got a few folks here. Now, listen, if you're here to hear about my Thanksgiving stories, I'm sorry, they're not that great, but I will relate this back to your business. And here we go. More often than not, what we do as contractors is we say yes to way too many things, which ultimately causes us in our business to suffer. It causes our business to suffer because ultimately we're saying yes to everything, which means we can't really grow. We can't really control what's happening, right? We got Masood with Clean Touch Roofing from Tucson, Arizona. Familiar with Tucson. Welcome, my friend. So the problem that we have is we're constantly saying yes to everything, which means the business will never grow. It will never grow. And I'll give you a perfect real life, real time example. As you guys know, we have a commercial construction management company, right? And inside of our business, what do? We focus on helping GCs manage scopes of work, i.e. groups of subs, which then allows us to get to a point where we can grow because we're helping them make their life easier. Well, on the last 3 jobs that we've been asked to bid, we were asked to bid outside of what we normally like to bid, which is roofing, framing, drywall, paint. Like that's basically it. We have really good subs for those scopes of work and we do pretty well, right? So at these last few bids, we were asked to bid electrical, plumbing, excavation, HVAC, flooring. We had ceiling tiles, right? In one of them, it's a compounding and pharmacy facility, meaning that they need a clean room. Bro, I've never done a clean room in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. And so it got to this point at the beginning of last week where Melissa and I, my wife, who works with me in the business, we both looked at each other and we're like, we can't do this. We literally can't do this. We can't keep saying yes to everything because the problem that we were having is we were saying yes to everything and it was overwhelming us because there were so many different scopes of work and so many different types of work that we literally couldn't wrap our heads around them. We have subs asking questions about what about this on the plans and what about that on those plans and what about this and what do we do here, and it just got to be overwhelming. And we made the decision, and it was a hard decision to make, but we made the decision that we couldn't say yes to everything because for us to say yes to everything, we were ultimately going to burn ourselves in the business to the ground, right? Because ultimately what was happening is we were just hustling and grinding, not growing. And so I want you guys to think about this as we go through the topic today is, are you hustling and grinding or are you growing? And there's a distinct difference between the two of them. We got Ryan with Divine Decking out of Bakersfield. Welcome. And then we've got Pierce saying, can I ask a question? Ask away, my friend. We love questions here. And by the way, that's for everybody. If you're here for the first time, we love questions. Make them specific to the topic, obviously, but we do love questions. So what did we end up doing? We went back to the GCs that we were working with. We're like, hey, we really want to help you, but we are not in a place where we can truly help you the way you want to be helped right now. We have a small team. We have a team of 4. That's it, right? And so we realized that if we minimized our scope, we would be able to maximize our efficiency. If we minimize the type of work that we were doing, we were able to maximize the amount of profit that we were going to make out of it. Okay. So I want you to start thinking that way when it comes to your business. Okay. Think about it this way. Okay. Number 1, every job that you say yes to shapes your business. Now I get it. A lot of you guys are subs and that's fine, but you don't want to be the plumber that's known for plumbing. You don't want to be the painter that's known for painting. You don't want to be the roofer that's known for roofing. Do you catch my drift here? Okay. You want to stay focused. When you get to a point where you're doing multiple 7 figures, then you can talk about taking additional scopes of work. Okay. But for now, stay focused. Stay focused. Okay. So let's take a plumber, for example, right? If you're the plumber that does service work, does new install work, and does commercial work, what kind of a plumber are you, right? The jack of all trades, master of none, which means if everything's your specialty, nothing is. And you got to think about it this way. If everything is your specialty, nothing is. And the problem that we have is by saying yes to everything, ultimately what happens? We can't specialize in anything, right? Think about it this way. If I call a plumber because I need help on a new commercial project, I'm looking for a plumber who has experience in new commercial that can give me pricing that works for new commercial so that we can build a long-term relationship and grow together. I don't need a plumber who only does everything and then wants to jump into commercial and says yes, which has happened before. Okay. Another example. We got the chance to bid on this particular project. It's an apartment complex over 2 floors of retail. So it's 2 over 5, total of 7 floors. And the GC asked for multiple scopes, and we got a bid for electrical, right? And it came in at right about $1 million. Okay. Well, guess what? The guy who submitted the bid at $1 million didn't actually submit a full bid because it wasn't detailed, and we asked for a detailed scope. And when I went back to him and said, hey, do you have any experience doing this? What do you think he told me? No, but we can do it. We do custom homes, but yeah, we can do that too, right? And so I felt not so confident approaching the GC going, hey, we got a number at $1 million. If we can land it at this number, we're all in. I don't feel confident in that because I don't have somebody who can actually do that. They don't have experience doing it. And so what we ended up doing, we changed this all last week, by the way, is our assistant who's qualifying our subs, getting license and insurance, scheduling, doing all that stuff. We said, I need you to go back through all of the subs and all of these scopes of work, and I need you to nail down their specialty. Either they do big commercial really well because they have experience and they have the big team. Either they do small TI work and that's just their thing because they're really good at it and that's what their team is really good at. Or they do residential, which we don't really do, and we just kind of push them to the side. You would be amazed. You would be amazed how many people fought back and they're like, oh no, we can do that. And we're like, nope, you got to pick one. I want to know who my guys are that can do the large commercial, hotels, multi-story complexes, things like that. I want to know the guys who can do my TI jobs, right? I want to know that because when bids come in, which we've had bids come in for core and shell, we've had bids come in for TIs, we've had bids come in for hotels and large townhome complexes. I know that you're not good at everything. I know it. And you need to know it too. It makes my job easier and it makes yours as well. You want to be able to be the guy or the girl that can do the thing really well, right? Second thing, not every customer is worth having. They're just not, okay? Because some customers cost you twice, right? I call these PITA customers. You've probably heard of them before. In fact, you may have one right now. If you're not sure what a PITA client is, spell it out. I'll help you. Pain in the ass. These PITA clients, they want the lowest bid, but they want to demand as much as they can out of you, right? They want to underpay, but they overdemand. They're the ones that cause your delays. They're the ones that cause all your mental stress. There's extra communication. There's rework. And worst of all, is they're pulling you away from the clients that you want to be doing business with. So why would you say yes? Right? And this is the way I look at it. We had an opportunity to have lunch with 3 estimators from a large, and I mean large, GC company, and they do stuff in multiple states. I mean, they do some really, really big projects. We had lunch and they were peppering me with questions. Tell us about your business. Tell us about your, this. Tell us about your that. And ultimately, what it came down to is we realized we were not aligned, right? What they were demanding was a company that could do these large projects. And that's not us. That is not us. We're not at the place where we're going to do large projects. We're kind of the smaller in-between guys, right? That's what we do really well. And it wasn't a bad thing, okay? But we realized if we would have said yes to them, we would have been the PITA client. We would have been the guys who'd be like, hey, you know what? We actually need more money, or we need more time, or we need more, whatever the thing is, right? And we didn't want to be that. So look at it from their perspective, okay? Do you really want to lose time? Do you really want to lose cash flow? And do you really want to lose focus? If the answer is no, then quit saying yes to the PITA clients. Listen, I know it. You're like, it's December. Yes, it is December. It's December. I need work. No, the reason you need work is because in January of last year, you didn't start your marketing. In October of this year, you still weren't marketing, which is why you don't have jobs right now. Period. Guess what we have? We have jobs. Guess when we're bidding these jobs? Oh, I don't know, March, April, May of this year, right? If you don't have jobs right now, that's your fault. So don't say yes to the PITA clients because you're desperate. Okay. Ready? Here's a stat for you. Okay. PITA clients cost businesses on average from $4,000 to $21,000 in lost productivity, in errors, and in rework. $4,000 to $21,000. So unless you want to stroke that check, which I'm pretty sure none of you guys do, quit. Don't quit the work, but quit focusing on saying yes to everyone, especially the PETA clients. Third, and this is really important for you guys, I need you to understand this. Quit saying yes to work that kill profit. Okay. Understand that complex jobs are expensive. You can't bid them the same. They will take more hours and time. In fact, they may end up taking you multiple iterations of working on it to get it right. And so instead of saying yes to all these random jobs, which require more management, which will probably lead to more mental overload and definitely more mistakes, instead of doing that, back off and focus on what you can do in your sleep. I go back to this TI project, this pharmacy, right? We're helping with the core and shell, which is great. Pretty simple, straightforward. We can do that. Okay. But what it is that we're not good at is clean rooms. We have never done clean rooms. In fact, we would probably never do clean rooms. So I got on the horn with the GC and I was like, hey, we can do everything else except this clean room. And he's like, well, I'm actually glad that you said that. And I was like, surprise. What do you mean? He goes, we actually have a company that's going to come in and just do the clean room. So we need somebody that can just do everything else. I was like, hallelujah. That'd make my life so much easier. Right? We got JS Nieves saying going through something very similar right now. Right? Listen, we can make business as complicated and as hard as it needs to be, or we can make it as simple and easy as it needs to be. But the choice is yours. If you want to always be focusing on different materials, different subs, different suppliers, different tools, different timelines, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, I don't know. There's going to be a ton of waste and you're going to be super inefficient, right? If you're doing the work, it's already going to be a mental headache and burden. Imagine your crew showing up to a job that they don't have a ton of experience doing and you expecting them to do a good job. What do you think is going to happen? Well, let me tell you, on average, cost overruns because of this, the inability to bid properly, because they're bidding on jobs that they're not comfortable doing, will cost a contractor on average 15 to 25%. And for most of you, that's your profit. Now, if you want to keep doing jobs for free, awesome, great, have fun, right? I don't want you guys to do that. I want you guys to focus on making money and keeping money. Right? The only way that that happens is if we focus on the work that we're really good at and we become an expert at doing that same work over and over and over again. You want to be a specialist. Trust me, because then everybody knows that's the guy that I call. That's the company that I call. I know they're experts in water heaters. They're experts in service panels. They're experts in whatever the thing is, right? That's what you want to get known for. Not the people that do everything, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. As we wrap this up, I want you to think about this way. There's the strategic power in saying no, okay? Specialization, which is nothing more than focusing on what you're good at, creates speed. There's less training you got to go through. Your estimating is faster. You're better at scheduling. Your sales conversations are so much easier. You can execute at a high level. And most importantly, you can start controlling jobs versus having jobs control you. We got Daniel says, say no to the PETAs. Amen, my brother. Say no to the PETAs, right? We don't want that anymore. Listen, the better you can get at controlling your jobs by saying no, the more profitable you'll become. So here's a couple of questions that will help you. And we use these questions when we have bids come in. In fact, we have 6 projects right now that we're bidding. But what do? We ask this. Number 1, is this one of our core job types? Right? What we realized quickly is we don't like doing storage units because there's not a lot in there for us to do that we're really good at. Right? Framing is usually metal, and that's a specialist. Roofing, also metal. Our roofing guys don't do roofing that way. There's not a ton of drywall. There's not a ton of paint. Like, it just doesn't make sense for us, right? So it's not one of our core job types. Do we already have a system for this kind of work? You guys know me. I love systems. And if you don't have systems, you're going to screw it up. Okay. Number 3, is this customer aligned with how we work? Right? In other words, do they have the same communication pattern? Do they love the way that we communicate? Do we jive in what our expectations are? Okay. And then number 4, does this job hit our minimum margin target after any risk that's involved? Okay. We've got Inga says, came in late. Can someone please define PETA? Super simple, my friend. PETA is a pain in the ass. Okay. And that's what we're talking about, the clients that we don't want to say yes to. Okay. Don't put yourself in a place where you're desperate and you need PETA clients or pain in the ass clients. Let's see. We've got Clean Touch Roofing says, say, for example, if I master residential roofing, waterproofing, and gutters, can I just go ahead and list those specialties, or should I just stay with roofing? Only where's your thoughts on that? Okay. Great question here, right? I would say if you're not doing multiple 7 figures, you are just a roofer, and stick to roofing. Find a partner where you can sub waterproofing or gutters to, but become the roofer. Listen, we work with an exterior company, and I say exterior because they started with gutters. They did gutters. Now, this is cheating. I get it. They did gutters for 3 generations, right? 4th generation, Tim's the owner. They do $16 million a year now. They do gutters, and they started doing exteriors, and they started doing decks, but they're doing 16 to 18 million a year. Completely different conversation. They have the team that they can execute at that high level. For you right now, I would say I want to become the best residential roofer. That maybe you do insurance work. Maybe you just do re-roofs. Maybe you do new builds, right? You want to get even more specialized in that because that's going to help your marketing. Okay. Amanda says, I'm going to start using that. Yes, you should. You totally should. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jones, you're a PETA and I don't work with PETAs. That'd be kind of funny. But going back to Clean Touch, if you want to become a specialist, you're going to find that it's much easier to get work. Right? Because I can walk into a business and very quickly go, hey, this is who we are and what we do. And I know whether there's alignment there or not. And it's that simple, right? You want to go through the no's faster to get to the yeses. The only way you do that is you specialize. All right. Inga says, what if you're a handyman service and your specialty is a bit of everything? Yes, but also no. Okay. It's funny because Justin used to have a handyman business and run a handyman business. So listen, a handyman is a little different, okay? But you still want to shrink down, your scope of work. You're not a handyman for everything, right? You can be a handyman for, hey, I do doors and trim, or I do a little paint and a little drywall and a little framing, right? You don't want to be the handyman who, hey, I do roofing, and I do electrical, and I do plumbing, and I do flooring, and oh yeah, and I can do your sprinklers outside. Who wants to be that handyman, right? Even as a handyman, you want to be specific, 3 or 4 scopes of work, but keep them kind of, in the same ballpark, right? That's going to help you as you grow as well, because even if you're a handyman, what do a lot of handymen like to do? They like to grow and eventually become remodelers or GCs. Great. Stick in that scope of work. All right. Listen, most important thing, we are in December now. 2026 is coming. And if you're not prepared for 2026, it's going to smack you in the face just like 2025 did. Okay. In order for you to be successful next year, number 1, most important thing you need is focus. Okay. What kind of a contractor am I and what do I do? Number 2 is you need organization. And I will tell you, if you're not using version 2 of Contractor Plus, you are screwing yourself right now. You at least need a CRM, but you need to use Contractor Plus. Why? Because version 2 helps you stay organized with your leads, with your estimates, with your jobs, and everything in between. Okay. 2026 is upon us. Okay. If you want 2025 to be successful, you got 30 days, but the truth is people take the last 2 weeks of the year off. So you got 2 weeks to make it successful. Start planning for 2026. Listen, if you're not sure what your next steps should be, we got you. We have an entire online community built exclusively for contractors. It's called Build Pro. If you want some information, you can go ahead and send us a message. We'd love to have you join our community. We have an entire training library. We have weekly live trainings. We have access to experts, all kinds of cool stuff. 100% for you, the contractor. But at this point, you know what time it is. Quit listening to me talk. It's time for you to get to work. Stay focused, learn to say no, and say yes to the things that you're really good at so you can see your contracting business explode next year. All right. You know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1. Off you go.